At 99 years old, Mel Brooks has reached the point in life where every sentence he speaks feels like it belongs in an archive of comedic wisdom. So when he jokingly announced that he would finally reveal the 5 actors I hated the most, the room filled with laughter even before he finished the sentence. Everyone knew perfectly well that Mel never truly hated anyone. What he meant was the 5 actors who drove him the craziest, the ones who pushed his patience to its breaking point, and the ones whose antics still made him laugh decades later, often in disbelief. He leaned back, grinning mischievously, and began his countdown. The first actor he mentioned was someone he affectionately called the Hurricane. According to Mel, this performer had uncontainable energy, the type that exploded the moment the cameras rolled. He would sprint across the set, improvise acrobatics no one asked for, and add unnecessary sound effects to every gesture. Mel recalled trying to direct a soft, emotional moment, only for the Hurricane to suddenly dive roll into the frame like a stuntman who'd mistaken the scene for an action film. Despite the chaos, Mel admitted that the actor's wild unpredictability often led to some of the funniest footage ever captured, footage he would never publicly release, because even he wasn't entirely sure what was happening in it. The second actor was the opposite. Someone so calm and slow-moving that Mel once joked he needed a sundial just to measure the man's reaction time. This performer insisted on absorbing the emotional essence of every line before speaking it, which meant he would stare into the distance for long, uncomfortable periods while everyone else waited. Mel described one scene that took 47 takes, simply because the actor refused to say his line until he felt spiritually aligned with his character's purpose. Eventually, Mel bribed him with a sandwich to speed things up, tactic that worked surprisingly well and became the unofficial strategy for the rest of the shoot. His third pick was an actress he praised for her talent but lovingly groaned about when recalling her quirks. She had an unusual obsession with props, often sneaking onto the set late at night to rearrange them in the pursuit of aesthetic enlightenment. Mel once walked onto set to find that she had replaced every ordinary cup with a gold chalice because she believed it added dramatic gravitas. He tried to explain that the scene was set in a 1970s diner, but she insisted that the chalices represented the nobility within the working class. The props department had to spend the rest of the morning undoing a philosophical art installation disguised as breakfast service. The fourth actor on Mel's list was a classic overthinker, a man capable of turning even the simplest direction into 1,000 questions. If Mel told him to walk across the room, he wanted to know why. If Mel told him to sit, he wanted to discuss character motivation, posture, symbolism, and the long-term implications of the chair's emotional significance. Mel claimed that by the end of filming, he had developed a sixth sense for detecting when the actor was about to ask a question and would immediately flee the set before being trapped in another hour-long discussion about whether a character should breathe with purpose or with existential conflict. Finally, Mel reached the last actor, the one he swore had aged him 10 years, in a single production. This performer had the uncontrollable habit of laughing at every joke, including the ones that weren't jokes. He would break character the moment someone raised an eyebrow in a funny way, ruining take after take. Mel tried every tactic imaginable to keep him serious. Stern pep talks, meditation sessions, surprise rehearsals at 6 a.m., nothing worked. The laughter was unstoppable. At one point, Mel considered filming the entire movie with the actor's back turned to the camera just to hide the giggles. But he admitted that the actor's infectious joy made the set one of the happiest places he'd ever worked, even if it did push production weeks behind schedule. When Mel finished listing the 5 actors he hated, he burst into laughter again. It was obvious to everyone that these weren't confessions of anger, they were love letters disguised as complaints. Memories of chaos that shaped some of the funniest years of his life. At 99, Mel Brooks wasn't settling old scores. He was celebrating the glorious madness of the business he spent a century transforming, and the unforgettable people who helped him do it.